Hi, and welcome to Grails to Astonish. I am going to open another box here today. This is not an auction box. This is a shipment from CGC. I'm going to open it up and talk about it. Most of the things in here I'm just going to go through really quickly because they're not that interesting. There's one book in particular that grading nerds will get into because I actually CPR'd it and sent it back into them because, well, let me get it out and then get all this squeaking out of the way. First thing we got in here is Thor 160 at 6.0. Not much of a key. It's got Galactus in it. He's on the cover. I saw it in a shop, thought it might be higher grade than this. 6.0 is not very high. It was not really worth the trouble, so too bad. Put that on eBay. Second one, this is a heartbreaker. I love this book, Fantastic Four number 26. It's got the Hulk up top and he's fighting the Avengers and the Fantastic Four. It's got everybody. It's like the Secret Wars of its day. It's also the second Silver Age appearance of Captain America. He had only appeared in Avengers number 4 prior to this issue. I just love the cover, and I had this at 8.0. I cracked it open, tried to get a higher grade, thought this deserved a higher grade, but alas, it came back at 6.5. And not only did it drop by 1.5 points, but the page quality, which should be fairly objective and consistent, had dropped down from off-white to one notch lower at cream to off-white. I was really disappointed with this, so after some deep soul searching, I cracked it open again, rolled up my sleeves, and tried really hard to at least get it back up to where it was. I ended up with a 7.5, a whole point higher, but still not what I started out with. And there was another surprise with the page quality. It didn't just go back up to off-white, they actually boosted it up to off-white to white. So, to review, the same book with no cleaning or enhancements whatsoever to the interior pages started out at off-white, then went down a notch, then went up 2 notches. In terms of current fair market value, the book started out at $525, dropped down to $375, and at 7.5, it's currently valued exactly the same as 8.0 at $525 again, but with about $80 that I've now poured into grading fees and shipping. So what am I going to do with it? Well, it annoys me to look at now, so I'm going to send it off to auction and collect my losses. Oh well, moving on. Next one is Amazing Spider-Man, number 64. This is another one that I bought in a shop that I thought was a 9.0 or higher. If it was a 9.0 or higher, it would be worth something. It would have been worth the trouble, but alas, no, 7.0. So, oh well, I'll put it on eBay. Too bad. I will say, I didn't just buy it in the store and send it in to be graded. I put a lot of work into getting this looking as good as I could. I cleaned it up a bit. Thought I had it looking pretty nice. I'll put a picture of it up here. You can decide for yourself if you thought it deserved better than a 7.0. I thought it looked pretty good. CGC did not agree. And the last one, of all the heartbreaks I've just talked about, this is the real heartbreak. This is Action Comics number 28. This is a book I bought about 14 or 15 years ago. I got it for a good price at auction, but I was new to collecting at the time and I didn't know the warning signs. I bought it raw, and I did not realize that while Comic Connect warned me in the notes that this book had tear seals, staples replaced. These are not things you want to hear if you're a comic collector. Cover reinforced. Those are really, really bad things. I bought this not realizing it had been restored. I sent it into CGC. It came back with this purple label of doom. I think this was my first purple label where I discovered the big pitfall of collecting when you buy a book raw and then find out it's been restored. Now, I know better now. I know what to look for. And at the very least, I know to read the notes because they pretty much will always tell you if a book's been worked on. It looks really, really good regardless of the restoration. It's got Superman on the cover. It's from 1940. It's from 1940. This is a Superman book. I think I got it for about $300. The fair market value on this, I'll put it up on the screen, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. It's not really very high. These books are hard to find, but in restored, they don't go for a lot. In any case, I had it in 3.5. I cracked it open because I read this book very, very closely. This is the CGC Grading Guide. So here we have the page on conservation. And the reason I cracked this open and sent it in is because the types of restoration that are listed in here all seem to me to fit into the category of what is now considered by CGC to be conservation. So Conserved gets like a blue label with a little strip of silver at the top instead of the purple label that you don't want. It's a new thing that CGC's offered, and I wanted to see if this would fit into that category. So the types of restoration that were done on this book are tear seals to cover, cover reinforced, staples replaced. 3 things make this a purple label instead of a blue. And it says right here in the book, there are 7 things that were once considered restoration that now qualify for conservation. Those 7 things are tear seals, check, we got tear seals. Spine split seal, don't have that. Reinforcement, cover reinforced, there's 2. Piece reattachment, didn't need that. Cleaning, didn't have that. Staples replaced, got that. And leaf casting. So of the 7 things that are now considered conservation, 3 of them were done to this book. So I thought, oh boy, this is no longer restored. This is conserved. I'm going to send it in to them. So I took it out of the case, cleaned it as best I could, and sent it in with a note asking if this is conserved. And the answer is no. They sent it back still with a restored label. They moved it up to 4.0. And the low end of the scale, the grading is more art than craft. It's nice looking, and I do think it deserved a 4.0, but I was hoping it would get a 4.0 conserved, and it didn't. So I would really like to know from CGC why that is. I will get around to calling them up and asking them, but first I wanted to make this video griping about it because I just got it in the mail. Viewers, if you know more about conservation than I do, feel free to explain to me why I'm wrong in the comments. I'll try and educate myself and learn more. Maybe there's something in this book I missed that will explain it. Yup, there was. I figured it out. It was all right there in front of me, but I didn't put it together until I was editing this video. There are columns on the chart for assessing the quantity and quality of restoration work. On the left side, 1 represents the smallest quantity and 5 represents the largest. And on the right side, A represents professional quality restoration, and C is the designation for amateur or shoddy restoration work. The only restoration they'll allow to qualify for the conserved grade is the smallest amount of professional level work, which they would designate as A1. And it says right here on the label that the work done on this book is C1, meaning it has a sufficiently small amount of restoration, but it was done so poorly they won't call it conservation. I have no idea how they assess professional from amateur, but I can't really argue with their methods here. And in another twist that I'm just now noticing, while restored books will often sell for a third or less than their unrestored counterparts at the same grade, the fair market value for this book is currently identical for both blue and purple labels. That is truly weird, and I've never seen it before. I've heard that attitudes are starting to shift toward restoration in Golden Age books, and prices aren't getting dinged quite as hard these days as they were 10 or 20 years ago. I guess that may be true, and it's a nice silver lining to this long, painful ordeal. In any case, that's it for this shipment of books. I'm going to sell off everything except the Action Comics 28, because that's the only one I really care about and want to hang on to. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.